before we get started, let's just pay the bills right now. I'm gonna walk through Main Street Boxing Gym. This is where all the Main Street fighters come from. 100%. As you can see, there's a lot of bags. Full-size ring for your Olympic training. A lot of champions came in and out of this place to come here and train, young and old. Every bag imaginable. Speed bag, heavy bag, full body bag, full-size ring. Combat talk with the king. Here we go. I guess this is the first UFC breakdown that I'm going to give. And I really love the two combatants that's going to get in this ring. Khabib and Conor. These guys are exactly the polar opposites, but the same. And I will break it down so you can understand. They're necessary. They represent the pinnacle of fighters. They represent the opposite directions in which you can go to achieve the same goal. They represent hard work, diligence, pride, and they behave as fighters at all times. At all times, these men are exactly what they need to be to achieve what they want. Now, let's take Khabib, for instance. The record speaks for itself, 26-0. That is unheard of in the UFC. I watched 7 of both fighters' last fights, their previous fights. And I took notes. And I looked for flaws. I looked for pluses. I looked for minuses. Let's go with Khabib first, right? Khabib is not the loudmouth dude. I mean, he could be, but he doesn't speak the English, doesn't speak English well. He speaks Russian. And, so the translation doesn't come across good. He's not an entertainer, but he entertains. He's everything that a UFC fighter wants to be. He has great takedown. He has great ground and pound. The way he moves on the floor is the way people move when they're standing up. The way he moves on the floor is the way a fish moves in the ocean. He goes from transition to transition, while at all times keeping his opponent confused and doing damage. His whole mindset is to get a hold of you and do damage. With that said, those are his pluses. Like if we're rating it on 1 to 10 rating, as far as his fighting, his ground game is a 10. His movement is an 8. His boxing is a 7. Maybe a 6. His defense is a 7. His ability to absorb punishment is a 6. Now, he's not loud. Will he pack arenas? If you know about UFC, yeah. Does the casual know about Khabib? No, the casual does not know about Khabib. Is he the face of the UFC? No, he isn't the face of the UFC. It would be nice if he is, but he's not. Now, let's go to Conor. Conor is the ultimate entertainer. He watched Floyd. He studied Floyd in boxing. He studied the highest earning fighter that he can compare himself to, that he can achieve what the highest earning fighter will achieve. See, because what Conor wants is Conor wants status. Conor wants to be seen above all. That's his driving motivation. The hunger, the money, the power, the fame. And that's how his approach is. His approach is he's loud, he's brash, but he can back it up. Or don't ever think in your life that Conor cannot back up his bold proclamations and claims. He has supreme confidence in his skills. But Conor has 3 losses. So that means God has bled 3 times. Now, let's go and look at what Conor does well. Conor will be known as a striker. Conor, if his striking, the way he moves on his feet, like before the Floyd fight, I would have said Conor was a 9 because his timing is impeccable. You don't teach timing to fighters because timing comes with a sense of fearlessness. Timing comes with a sense of dominance. Timing comes with a sense of knowing that if I deliver this shot at this perfect time and it's split seconds, you see the door, you see the opening, and bam, it happens. Jose Aldo found out. Coming in, Conor stepped in and delivered the right hand. Seconds. So that's where you have that superstardom, that flash, that boom. Conor delivers that in spades. So the way that Khabib moves on the floor in a grappling, Conor moves on a stand-up. Now, since he fought Floyd, he had went through boxing training. I've been watching Conor, his training camps. This fight, his boxing has stepped up immensely. He throws hooks and jabs the way he's supposed to. He sidesteps and he moves and he goes from transition to forward kick. That is key. To back kick, to spinning backhand, to spinning back elbow, to lunging uppercut, to Superman punch, to straight right hands. Flawlessly. Now he does. So if I'm rating Conor, his striking is a 10 now, if not a 10 plus. His movement is always going to be a 9. He's like a snake, like a cobra. His takedown defense, 7. His ground and pound, 7. His durability, his ability to take a punch and to last, all due to mental toughness. That's a 9. His takedown game, his ground game, Conor's probably a 7. But see, where Khabib is a plus, Conor's a minus. Where Conor is a plus, Khabib is a minus. That makes this fight so intriguing, so incredibly captivating, because, yeah, it's very easy to say if it goes the distance, Khabib wins. Oh, if it ends early, Conor wins. It's very simple to say these things, But this in lies the rub. This is the variables that we are looking for as the viewer, as the fan. The variables. Can Conor go the distance? Can Conor win the long one? Pause. Can Khabib knock out Conor quick? So these variables is what makes this fight the must-see fight in the UFC this year, because you have the top two fighters. Now, Conor does not have belts, despite the fact that you will see him taking pictures with belts. Khabib have the belt. Khabib is the champ. Khabib is that dude. Khabib is the boogeyman. He walks softly and carries a big stick. Conor yells loudly and makes noise wherever he goes. So who would win? Would Conor flash and pan him out early? Or will he employ what he did in his losses that he has, and his one victory to Nate Diaz? Will he employ that strategy to win? See, because with loss comes a lesson. If you've never lost, there's no lesson for you to be taught. And with that comes a certain hubris. But with that also comes a certain mental toughness, because you believe beyond hope that tonight is your night, always. But when for one combatant, he found out tonight wasn't his night. And for all his blustering and bravado, it wasn't to be. So I believe in learning the pain of defeat. You also learn a powerful lesson that victory is to be savored. Victory is to be appreciated. Victory is fleeting. You don't know the horrors of loss unless you have lost. So going into this fight, I saw at the weigh-in, and let's get this out the way. UFC does not do live weighings. All right. You know, they do a live weighing in the background. They know the weights of the fighters and everything. So by the time they step on the scale, it's just a formality. Okay. So it's no shock of what's happening. So at the weigh-in, I saw certain things that concerned me with Conor's weight. Khabib weight won't be issue to me unless he doesn't make weight. But Conor needs to be that fast striking cobra. If he's off by a millisecond in his speed, that millisecond can cost him. Because the reaction time of Khabib is definitely of a high quality caliber. I equate this to two fighters, Evander Holyfield versus Mike Tyson. I always knew Holyfield would beat Mike Tyson. Always. The reason why is the workman-like fighter, the fighter that works on his craft, that doesn't depend on his natural God-given skills, actually produces when the time calls for it. They actually dig down and they actually give you what a fighter is supposed to be. My prediction is Khabib by third round stoppage. I believe Conor throws a kick and it gets caught, and Khabib drives him to the floor and begins to maul him. With this caveat, I am a Conor fan. And I know this is supposed to be an impartial take on the two fighters going into the ring. I love exactly what Conor has brought to the UFC. I love exactly the businessman he is and the mentality that he has. I love that he has made it a spectacle with skill. And I truly don't want him to lose. But 26-0. I want that to sink in. When these fighters in the UFC age in dog years, it is unheard of to be 26-0. I truly believe it to be 27-0 at the end of this. I would love for Conor to jump out and bam, take it. But something showed me where Conor's mindset was with Khabib. The bus incident. You stand to make millions of dollars fighting a person, you don't go and risk millions of dollars. And you do irrational things out of fear. You may not know it's fear, but it's fear nonetheless. So the bus incident was telling. The confrontations when they're with each other is telling. He knows exactly who Khabib is. And Khabib knows exactly who Khabib is. Khabib is that guy. He's that boogeyman. He's the name that you don't want to come out of that hat when it's time to draw. Khabib in 3.